Hey, what's good? It's Marshall Mathers the fourth here. I just want to make a video today about all the black people that say that black people of and from the hood don't listen to Eminem's music. They don't bump it or whatever. And it's a really pretty popular trending topic, so I just want to put my 2 cents on it. And I just want to pretty much give out a message to all the black people who are actually of and from the hood who say that they don't bump Eminem's music. And one of the reasons that they say they don't is because the shit he raps about on his songs, on his albums, is crazy and insane. It's weird. They don't relate to it. They don't resonate with it. They don't feel it. They don't vibe to it. They don't connect to it. It doesn't appeal to them. They can't find anything in common with it, with themselves, of course. And another point they'll make is that he pretty much raps from the perspective of a character. And I totally agree with that claim. That is definitely true. Like his Slim Shady alter ego character, which is supposed to be his very twisted, dark, just disturbing, controversial, and shocking side and version of himself. But obviously, the shit he raps about as his Slim Shady alter ego persona and image that he gives off to the public is obviously fake. It's like he's an actor who's pretending to be a fucking psychopath and just be a crazy, insane psycho or whatever in just so many ways. And does a whole bunch of fucking dark, twisted, distorted, disturbing type sort of shit. And of course, he raps from that perspective and alter ego because he wants to be controversial and he wants to shock people. That's his whole point. And I mean, I definitely get and understand fully why black people from the hood don't relate to that, because when it comes to black rappers, they rap about more so shit that black people of and from the hood can relate to, like drive-by shootings and drug dealing, pimping women, stabbings, robbings, and just other hardships and difficulties while living through and going through, or I mean, just while living through the hood until they make it out and until they get to a better place in their life. But you know, I just want to also make the point, though, about black rappers that black people of and from the hood would much rather prefer more than Eminem and probably bump like a lot every single fucking day in the clubs and at parties and at cookouts and when they're pulling up to somebody, or even if they're just cruising around. Like someone like Tupac is a great example to start out with. Tupac had lived in New York. He grew up in New York. And as a teenager, he went to the School of Arts, which has been proven fact. And Tupac, as a child and even as a teenager, never was hood. He was never ghetto. He was never a thug. He was never a gangster. He never dealt drugs. He never pimped women. He never killed anybody or did any drive-bys. He never stabbed anybody. He never robbed anybody or anything like that. But then in his late teens, he moved to California and he got adopted by a woman who had a nice house. And then when he became a rapper, he pretty much painted himself and portrayed himself and had the persona and image, the fake and false image that is, of being a thug, of being a gangster, of being a hoodlum, of being and trying to act like a fucking guy who actually lived through the hood lifestyle. and actually experienced it, even though he actually didn't. But because he's black, he knows that he's going to appeal to black people, because blacks relate to blacks and resonate with them and can connect with them, and they can vibe with other black people. And knowing that Tupac was black, I mean, it's not surprising that black people would fucking bump his music in the hood at clubs, at cookouts, during drive-bys, and just when they're cruising around in their cars in general. Except the truth of the matter of fact is, he did not live through the hood. He did not struggle and suffer through the hood lifestyle. He never fucking experienced that whatsoever. So he's simply lying about it, or he's pretending to rap about the perspective that he did. And I mean, I have a feeling that black people of and from the hood probably buy the notion that, oh yeah, my man Tupac, yeah, he lived through that. He lived that life that he's rapping about. And right when his first album came out, he already also had the fucking image of that of a thug. Because, I mean, I feel like a lot of these fucking rappers are given a platform, one, and they're given money before even releasing their album to buy stuff to make themselves even look more hood, like baggy sweats or jeans or khakis or whatever, baggy hoodies, baggy shirts, gold chains, gold grills, silver grills, Rolexes, tattoos, nose piercing, earrings or whatever, and trying to just really sell it as if they're actually hood, as if they're actually a thug, as if they're actually a gangster who experienced that life and lived through that fucking life, even though, again, they actually didn't. And even someone like the Notorious Big, or Biggie in other words, right when he became a famous rapper, his mother made a statement saying that he had grew up rich and privileged, and that his mom has a nice house, and she had a nice white picket fence, and even though he did grow up rich and privileged, he pretty much lied and rapped about how he grew up impoverished and in poverty and oppressed and all that shit. But that was all a fucking lie. That was all just a false persona and image that he sold to the fucking public, that he sold to the hood. And of course the hood bought it because Biggie was black. The Notorious Big was black. And also he pretty much threw away all of his blessings, all the privileges he had growing up. He pretty much threw them all away for the hood instead. And you know what? I don't fucking blame him, because it's pretty obvious and clear that Biggie Smalls did not have a father in the house to try to protect him and keep him away from that. And because he didn't have a father, he longed after the hood lifestyle. He desired it. He craved it. He was so interested and fascinated in it. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was trying to look for like a father type figure. And a lot of fucking guys, especially black guys, who don't have fathers, or in other words, dads growing up as children or whatever, and teenagers, they'll spend their whole fucking lives searching for a father type figure or a father type of role model. And a lot of them will join the hood because it's like, oh, they'll join gangs and they'll want to have like a father type figure, a role model, and they'll think, oh, it's probably in the hood, or it's probably in these gangs that I want to join or something. And other guys will look for other father figures or whatever. But anyway, the thing about Biggie, though, unlike Tupac, he actually had friends from the hood who were of and from the hood. And on top of that, Biggie, unlike Tupac, had at least dealt drugs. So when it comes to the Notorious Big compared to someone like Tupac, he had more street cred. He had more of a rap sheet than Tupac did, and he at least did some hood shit. Tupac, on the other hand, only acted ghetto and acted hood and acted out as a thug, and of course dressed like one and talked like one and acted and behaved like one and all that after becoming a famous rapper. And he did shoot 2 off-duty police officers, but that was again after he became a famous rapper. But again, I would say when it comes down to it, before Biggie even became a famous rapper, he had dealt crack on the streets. But even when it comes to Biggie, he had a really nice, privileged, rich life growing up that even his own fucking mother admitted to the public even right when he became famous. And that pretty much he's lying about growing up in poverty and impoverished and oppressed and all that shit and deprived. And another great example of a rapper that I'm pretty sure black people bump in the hood is Ice Cube. And Ice Cube is another one of those fucking rappers who's been proven to have a very nice and privileged life growing up. Even though he was raised in Compton, that doesn't necessarily mean, oh yeah, so he's automatically hood because he was raised in Compton or he was born in Compton or whatever. And like, no, he's not hood at all, but he raps from the perspective of a thug or of a gangster, and he has that fucking gangster thug hoodlum type sort of persona and image that he fucking gives off to the public, that he paints and portrays himself as in his fucking rap songs and in his music videos and on all his fucking albums, as just this really fucking hardened ghetto thug gangster hoodlum. But he never actually lived through the hood lifestyle, so he's just simply faking it. And you know, the rapper Eazy-E would say about a lot of these rappers, even many of the old school rappers, he would say that they're simply studio gangsters. And that's it. They're just studio gangsters. They're practically actors in a way, because they're just pretty much acting hard. They're acting hood. They're acting the part of a hoodlum, of a thug, of a gangster, of someone who actually experienced and lived through the hood and actually did hood shit when they actually didn't. And Eazy-E, though, he had dealt drugs before becoming a famous rapper. So I do believe some rappers actually are hood and actually rap about some of the shit they have at least done. Also, when it comes to a rapper like Jay-Z, one of the fucking greatest rappers of all time, was abandoned by his parents, and he also dealt drugs. But Jay-Z, I would say, is probably one of the most actual gangster rappers that there is out there, because his parents abandoned him, and he pretty much had to hustle and grind on his own, and he dealt drugs, and he became just rich as fucking shit and powerful, and again, one of the greatest fucking rappers of all damn time. And but I mean, Jay-Z has been rich for a long fucking time. I mean, he hasn't lived through the hood. He hasn't experienced it for a long fucking time. And I feel as though when it comes to black people in the hood, they're just living in a fucking bubble. And They just want their favorite fucking rappers or whatever to still keep living in the hood and still keep rapping from the perspective as if they're still living in the hood, even though they're not. And that would be very bad for them, especially at their whatever old age they're at in their life and wherever they're at in their life as of currently or whatever. And I mean, it's just dumb. And and one thing I also want to say to black people in the hood, so you're going to tell me that Eminem makes no fucking rap songs that I don't know, resonate and relate to black people from the hood? So you're going to tell me Murder Murder featuring Tupac off the Slim Shady EP that you can easily listen to on YouTube is not a pretty hood song by Eminem? Are you going to tell me the song Amityville from the Marshall Mathers LP is not hood? Especially in a verse where Eminem raps, "This ain't Detroit, this is motherfucking Ambergris Hill. We don't do drive-bys, we park in front of driveways and shoot. And when the police come, we shoot it up with them too." I mean, that line right there at least is pretty fucking ghetto. That line right there, that verse right there is pretty fucking hood. And he raps that on a song called Amityville off of the Marshall Mathers LP featuring Bazaar of D12. And I mean, there are other songs too that Eminem has released that I'm pretty sure are pretty hood and ghetto sounding type sort of rap songs that black people from the hood could easily pull up on people to bumping or listen to in the clubs or at cookouts or so on and so forth. And I mean, but yeah, if we're gonna go there, there are so many fucking rappers that are just simply playing characters at the end of the fucking day, even when it comes to black rappers. And one point I also want to fucking make to any and all black people of and from the hood who may see this video and hopefully do, there's a quote that you all should know if you don't. And it was said by this really famous guy. I don't know who, and I can't remember his name or whatever. I only remember the quote, and it went like this: if rappers had actually lived what they rap about in their music, they would either be dead or in prison. And you know what? I couldn't agree more with that quote. And I'll say it again. If rappers had actually lived what they rapped about, they would either be dead or in prison. And that makes total and complete sense. I mean, when I think of someone like Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, or Snoop Dogg, or whatever other black rappers rapping about shooting fucking people and drive-bys or stabbing people and robbing people and drug dealing. I mean, there's a lot of black rappers who can easily rap about drug dealing and be just liars. And even if they actually did do drug dealing, okay, but a lot of them will rap about fucking killing people. And Eminem does it the most. And you're telling me none of these fucking rappers are in prison for life for admitting it in their songs? You're telling me they're not in prison for life for dealing drugs, killing people in drive-by shootings, and stabbing people, robbing people? Oh yeah, that makes total and complete sense. That makes perfect sense that they would still be living their best life and becoming famous and rich and crazy, insane, powerful. And I also want to end this video with saying the fact that rappers are pretty similar to that of actors, if you think about it, because, when it comes to black people who watch, say, like a fucking hood movie, and let's say there's a black actor in that hood movie who never lived the hood life, never experienced it, and never did any sort of crime or criminal activity of any kind, and does not have a rap sheet or street cred or whatever, or was ever in a gang, but portrays themselves as that, in the movie. And a perfect example of that is the movie Menace to Society from 1993. There were two main characters in the movie. There was Kane, and he had a friend, and I forgot his friend's name in the movie. And I also forgot the actor's name who played his friend in the movie. And the actor who played Kane's friend in the movie Menace to Society said in behind-the-scenes interview that after that movie came out, all these black people in the hood kept coming to me and asking me what gang I was from or whatever. And he would say to them, I'm not a gang. I'm not from a gang. I don't know why you think that or are getting that idea. I was never hood. I never did any crimes or criminal activity of any kind. I'm not hood. I'm not from a gang. I never was a gang. I never was in a gang. I never joined a gang or anything like that. But he was able to easily portray himself as a hardened gangster in that movie. And because he's black, and because he simply acted so well as if he actually was from the hood and was a gangster and was a thug and all that other shit, black people bought it. Black people fucking bought it. And he was from Chicago. He did witness some shit, but he didn't live it himself. He didn't live it himself. And, you know, another rapper who never lived the hood life, but only simply saw some things, is someone like Nas. He was never hood, but he saw how some people were in the hood and how they acted and behaved and how they lived their life. So he rapped from the perspective of someone from the hood. But he himself was never hood, but he'll paint and portray himself as someone who's a hood, or from the hood, or I can't even talk anymore. Just bear with me. And I mean, just like I said before, that's what a lot of these fucking rappers have been doing for a long fucking time. They're simply pretending. And yet, black people will say that they don't listen to fucking Eminem. And a lot of black people will even say crazy fucking shit like that Eminem's music is crazy or insane. And I'm not denying that, and I'm not disagreeing with that point or claim, but they act as if their rap music and what they rap about is more so normal and more so on the down low. Like, no, they're both equally bad. They're both equally bad on the same fucking level. I don't know. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say in this video. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. I'm out.